Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Moses, and today we have a great conversation with one of my great mentors. His name is Allistair Fredricks. Yeah, I think he's done so much for not only South African hockey, but African hockey. But today, I think, he's here. He'll introduce himself as we go ahead with our conversation. So, hi, hello.
How are you, Moses?
I'm doing fine. How you doing?
I'm all good, man.
Yeah, good. So yeah, guys, a lot of people are excited. They want to know about you. Introduce yourself, just like we discussed before, your journey of hockey and everything. Then we go to the juicy part.
Obviously, Allistair Fredricks, hockey player, played for South Africa. I can tell you a bit about when I started playing hockey at the age of 11. I don't know how much you want me to delve into the history of hockey because when I started playing hockey, we obviously played under the banner SACOS, which was a non-racial body that was playing separate to obviously our white counterparts. So I started hockey in the apartheid era where we obviously played hockey, having our own events, our own tournaments, and selected our own SA national teams. Obviously, we couldn't compete internationally, but that was our form of obviously creating an environment where we could play with the best players that were selected from our colored era in those times. We used to have the SACOS games. I never managed to attend one, but that was almost like the Olympic Games of the colored and black community within hockey and all other sports. So I was glad to be a part of that, but it was also an eye opener once we obviously amalgamated as two associations into what we have now, the South African Hockey Association.
Ali, I've known you for some time, and I was just remembering where we met. I think we met first in Malawi. You remember
Correct. I've been to a few African countries doing workshops, and I've been blessed to go to your country and spend a few days there and enjoy myself coaching and empowering the people there in your part of the world.
Yes.
How we met in Malawi.
Yeah, we met in Malawi, and it's I can say basically my life changed. As I mean, I thought I was
hockey farms existing, man, and you're doing some good work.
Yeah, thanks to you, Ali.
And becoming a top international coach now, living in Holland and all of that.
Thanks to you. It started with you, and I know it's not only me. There are many other African people who have been sending me texts saying thank you. You're talking about the guy from Ghana, Eddie.
Yes.
You have Eddie. We have Meshach.
Meshach also came in. That is level 2 with us.
Yes.
So there's some really great coaching staff that side, and I've been keeping up in touching and keeping in touch with them via Facebook and that.
Yeah, that's authentic. So Ali, so what was your challenges basically when you began as a player? The challenges.
Look, I've been through probably the full circle when it comes to playing under the apartheid era, playing with South African hockey. I made the South African national colored team at the age of 16, and I was playing with my heroes, the likes of Gregory Nip, Gary Dolly, Richard Dolly, Bruce Jacobs' dad, Alan Jacobs. I mean, those were all my heroes that I actually managed to play with and play against. And I'll never forget that I was probably one of the last to join the fully fledged South African Hockey Association after there was fight back into how the merger went between the two hockey bodies. When I first made the national team, which was in 1994, there was a guy by the name of Jock Coombs who kind of heard about me, and he took me on my first development tour to Namibia. And that was the South African development team. And on that tour, I was top goal scorer. And eventually, obviously, more people started hearing from me. And then I made the South African A side, and we toured Zimbabwe as well. The captain of that team was Gary Dolly. So Gary Dolly made me do everything from, take PCs and penalty flicks. And I was again top goal scorer there. We actually beat the Zimbabwe national team. And then it was after that I got invited to go on a tour to Australia to the World Cup with the SA development team. But while that was happening, I was then invited to go to the men's national camp to actually stand a chance of making the team that would go to the World Cup. That took place in East London. We got a new coach called Gavin Featherstone. He stepped on board. There were previous coaches to Gavin Featherstone that I didn't work with him. Obviously, I did go to certain trials, but again, we were not recognized at that stage. Our teams were probably 100% white before I made the team in 1994. And then I made the team at that trials, which was in East London. And obviously, that was a bit of a shock. I never thought I'd actually get the opportunity to play for South Africa. Made the team, went to Australia, starting lineup against Germany. And the best thing of that tournament was that we drew our first game against Germany. I think it was 1-1 or 2-2, but we drew that game. We scored in the last 36 seconds of that game. And I think that's where we started, telling everybody that, South Africa is here. We're going to play some hockey. And I think we ended 10th in that tournament. But it's, for me, that was the start, obviously, of my hockey career. But in saying that, it was also, I think it was 8 years that I was only non-white player in the team. It was kind of, I played with a really lot of good players who never had an opportunity to get the opportunity I had. So it was kind of, a lot of our guys got marginalized in those years. The likes of Hayden Townsend, our current president of South African hockey, Dion Morgan, the Kasim's dad, Kasa. I mean, these oaks were brilliant hockey players. But none of them actually got the opportunity of playing, let alone all my heroes, Gregory Nip, Gary Dolly, Richard Pambricius, all those guys. I mean, I can name so many players that never had an opportunity to play for South Africa or play on the international stage. So it was tough. It was tough in the beginning to be a part of the setup. But again, I've learned a lot in my years of being a player, of being a coach. And I look back at, the things that I had to go through to actually play and actually, perform during those times in my life, being the only person of color in that team. But, I pulled through and, I managed to make it work. And now I've obviously got the opportunity to teach others.
Yes, and I think, Ali, that's one thing that we all know you to have. Man, you are genuinely, you're a good guy with a good heart, and you've opened opportunities for people who could not have seen them before. And I think it's you might not know it indirectly or directly, but you have really impacted African hockey, and not only as a player. And the other day I was talking to Fire, to Chess, all those guys. I think we have the same friends, and they are like, oh, we could not be anywhere without likes of you. And what do you think? What makes you? What makes it so easy for you to help other people? Other people want to keep everything for themselves, but
look, I think my journey when I started, realizing that I can actually play and people that have influenced my life and that have given me stuff, from the people that were my local heroes in Kimberley, Gaston Williams, Hendrik McDillan. I mean, those guys played a part in my life in terms of I couldn't afford much. My parents and our family was really poor, so guys like Gaston and those oaks used to, they used to fund me. They used to give me money to go on tours. They used to give me money to have petrol to actually drive from Lime Acres to Kimberley and back and to train and to play. And they do things for me. So I really started knowing people that had the heart to give. And I've always been giving. And then you have the administrators that have been influential in my life, Gary Dolly and those oaks that have taught me how to actually become an administrator. Whether I'm a good one or not, well, that's another thing. But I've learned to know hockey through a lot of these people, and these people are very giving. So when I got into positions of power, or not position of power, but when I traveled to Pretoria to start my job at TWR, I don't know if you know the Wright brothers, John and Peter. Most people won't even know that I stayed by those two guys for the first 2 years of my life. Coming from that small town in Kimberley, when I made that decision to actually move to the biggest city, John and Peter looked after me. They were my dad and my mom. And John obviously is a brilliant administrator. He then gave me they then gave me a job at Technicon Pretoria to become a development officer. But the likes of Garth Proudfoot, John Wright, they taught me what it is, because I came from a fitting and turning background. Those folks taught me how to actually use a computer to actually do some admin work and how to learn to, run coaching sessions and to do that, because I didn't have that opportunity to learn those things. So it all started there, then moved to TWR when Robbie Pullen got me in there. I ran my own, obviously, hockey. I ran the hockey, obviously, for TWR, and learned that I had an opportunity there to, give kids scholarships. So I gave kids scholarship when I was at TWR and hockey scholarships. That's why I started doing those type of things. And then it became UJ. Unfortunately, UJ, again, some of those white folk over there decided that they got to marginalize me, and I got given the squash portfolio, even though I was a national player. But in saying that, I still ran New Rovers Hockey Club. And through that, we could again give back in terms of coaching and all of that. So the giving part for me has always come from a long line of people that have given me the opportunity in life. So now that I've got the chance, whether it's my trust fund that the Allistair Fredricks is giving scholarships, or whether it is to Baloo Hockey that we give so much time and we give so many kids an opportunity, it's time for us to give back. And I've got that opportunity to do that. So I need to use it to the best of my ability and create more Allistair Fredricks and, Bruce Jacobs out there in the world. So it's good to give. It's good to give, but I can only give because I've been given the opportunity to actually, and the platform to actually do it. So it's good. It's part of my job.
Yeah, but Ali, come on, let's call a spade a spade. Not everybody does, and that's why I'm saying. One gentleman asked me, "How come I can sacrifice more for the sport?" And I was like, "Hey, the people who introduced me to the new way of doing things, and I always talk about you. Remember, even you hosted me in your house. You'll always do that. So basically, I think it's something that we people of color, we have been nurtured into about sharing, and I think it's fantastic because you've really impacted a lot of people. I'm telling you that the texts, everybody all over the world, like I was checking when I said I'm going to have you, 3 days we had 1,400 likes, and everybody is expecting. So it means directly, Allistair, without your knowledge, there are so many Allistairs on the ground. Yeah.
No, that's good.
Yeah. So now, Johnny coaching. Yeah, that's a juicy part.
Yeah, that's when I finished my stint with the national team and when I got dropped by Greg Clark and company from being the assistant coach to the Olympic Games.
Yeah.
I went through a hell of a lot in terms of that after I was with Paul Rivington as well. But how I started getting into coaching is still beyond me, because when I became a national assistant coach, I had absolutely no coaching accreditation. So again, for me, and like it was in my latter years of playing in the national team, whether it was difficult making a starting lineup, whether I was dropped because of the color of my skin, I knew that as a person, if I get the opportunity, I need to ride the wave as much as I can, because I've got to build and create something. So I generally started having thicker skin and started thinking of the bigger picture instead of the now. So when I put that in my mind and I became a assistant coach of the South African national team, I didn't even have a level 2. I think I maybe had a level 1. But again, that was a tough task to be put into, and trying to make sure you're trying to teach national players what you think you know. And what I knew at that stage was not the best. I came from a background of just playing the sport at international level, but I never had the opportunity to even coach some of the top teams. So my journey as a coach began with coaching some of the smaller provinces, the Eastern Gautengs and the Griquas and West. I managed to coach Free State, I've coached Southerns, I've coached Northerns. And through that journey, I became a better coach. But I also made sure that through the likes of Fabian and Gary Dolly, that I started empowering myself by doing obviously the workshops, the level 2s, the level 3s. I've been to Terry Welsh's workshop. I've been with Rick Charlesworth. I was lucky to look after Gavin Featherston. I was lucky to spend weeks with Roland Altmans. So I learned a lot through those guys, seeing, learning, and trying to apply. And I eventually, just became the coach that I think would make me, coach the best I can. And obviously the players that I managed to work with, which a lot of is non-white players, just has a different style. And if you can, and in my world, if you can create some harmony between, attacking and defending with the types of play that I coach, you create a super player. And these guys, again, from that perspective, we're never given that opportunity. So whatever I've learned, I've tried to apply, to the teams that I've coached in the past. So coaching has always been something I wanted to do. I've always said I wanted to coach the national team, but I've gone past that now. I'm part of the organization now, South African Hockey. I'm president of Southern. So I think I've got more that is happening in my life than being a coach at this stage. But I obviously love coaching my Baloo team.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been. I mean, I coached was assistant coach of the national team for 5 years. I coached the Australian while I was SA indoor coach when I coached the Australian side, SA Universities coach. So I've had a couple of good positions where I took charge. SA under 21 coach. And I enjoyed those. I really learned a lot. And I think the guys that I worked with, I learned a lot from them. Ishan, Najjar, Mark from East London, and all those guys. You learn so much from everybody.
Yeah.
And coaching comes with a lot of experience and obviously the ability to, run proper sessions, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So it's been an exciting pathway in terms of coaching. That's what we do. It's what we love.
Yeah. Yeah. And now, Ali, I think you're so key, because I think now you're working what's your role? I think there are two roles which are very key. That's your high performance director for South
so
Africa.
Currently I've taken over from Dave Viney as the high performance portfolio manager, whichever you want to call it, for South African Hockey.
Yeah.
So my job is basically to look after our national teams, their program, and obviously to have that relationship with the national coaches. It's been a difficult year because I've just started. I've also inherited a lot of problems from the past.
Yeah.
And it's not something that we're going to fix, as well as some of the other guys. I've got a very good leader in terms of our high performance portfolio that kind of is the chairperson of our group, Gary Dolly. So, Gary's very instrumental in terms of the administration and how we put things in place, ensuring we've got our policies in place. And the job for me now is to build a good relationship with our coaching staff, is to make sure that we obviously, get rid of all the past problems we've had, whether it comes to selections, appointing of the right, conveners of selectors, changing the dynamics of how we do things, making things transparent, and making sure that when we select it, everybody's given a fair opportunity to make the team. And we also obviously have to make sure that we are falling in line with what we are asked from SASOC and government in terms of ensuring that our team is, fully representative of what South Africa is. In saying that, everybody that makes that national team needs to understand you've got to work hard and you've got to be quality. But I think we have got more than enough talent, and I think things will change. They're starting to change, and things don't happen overnight. But we will make sure that we get our high performance program up and running once COVID's done, and put those things in place. I must say I've got a very good bunch of national coaches who are excited, understand where South African hockey hopefully wants to be, after Olympic Games. There's another cycle starting, and the future's looking bright. We just need to make sure that we are, we are fair, and we are, giving opportunity those awesome youngsters that we have out there. Make no mistake, we can be a powerful hockey nation with the group of kids coming through, ladies and men.
Yeah, Ali, I didn't want to talk about this, but there's a time when we had somebody, sorry to say this, but I had to bring it up because it really disturbed me when somebody was pointing fingers and saying all that without the facts, and most of my friends were really shocked.
Issue.
So and I remember we were fighting on the background here, and so and I think it's wrong for you to say something which you don't have any
what, again, when somebody sent me that message and I heard what this guy had to say about South African hockey, I don't mind what they say about me. It is indicative of when you're getting information from the wrong people and you actually don't understand what is happening within an organization. Some of the facts and things that he said there, you could see he was totally clueless in terms of his knowledge of hockey, of his knowledge of the current people in there. And the fact that he started signaling out individuals and not understanding the role of these individuals and what they've done for South African hockey was very concerning. Luckily, he's in America. He's not going to impact what we do here. Whoever supports him from a South African perspective, that is entirely their choice. But I've never ever selected people because they are my people. In fact, he doesn't even know that I am not a selector anymore. And to make statements like that, was I don't know. I wasn't even concerned. I was laughing more because he's so uneducated in what is happening in hockey. But you know what? He's got his platform. Says what he says. We can all do that as well, but I don't think we'll steep that low. And then the weekend after that, he started attacking everybody else. It was like he's got this hockey phase in him, but we move on. We just try and make sure that we are, creating an opportunity of fairness and, being transparent. That's all we can do. That's all we want to do in terms of South African hockey.
I think that's why we say you be the bigger man in the picture.
No, you have to, eh?
Yeah. And now, Ali, yes. And now, what's your role in Southern Gauteng? Southern Gauteng. Southern Gauteng.
I've taken over as president of Southern Gauteng. I've always said that I want that role one day. I've been chairperson of quite a few clubs. Baloo, we don't have an executive. We run Baloo as a total business. I was chairperson or at least president of New Rovers Hockey Club, and I've taken over now as president of Southerns. I'm not even a year into that, but it was something that I've always wanted to do. I think as Southern Gauteng, we are a massive organization. We've had some really good leaders in the past. Sheila and Lucky was there. Lucky obviously left with a bit of pressure. But once again, I also came in there with lots of problems that we needed to sort out. And I told myself and I told my current executive that we're going to be as transparent with our clubs and the people that we actually, run hockey for in this province. And we've managed to do quite well. Obviously, with COVID coming in, there wasn't much else we could do but cancel our leagues and all of that. But in between that, things like our finances, our Ryan Malele and those guys have put those things in place and ensured that that's become transparent and, explaining to our clubs. I think we're probably one of the first associations to give money back to the clubs. That we gave over 340,000 Rand of an overpayment that clubs made last year. We disbursed that back to clubs. So that's the first time that's happened.
That's good.
Our finance, our debtors list are up to date. We've got a very good events program coming up. Obviously, our leagues are not taking place. Polo, you all know Polo. She's doing a fantastic job with high performance. And I mean, she's just got such good experience in terms of that. She's leading us from the front. And then we've got Hayden Townsend, who's our marketing marketing guy, and he's phenomenal in terms of helping me with certain stuff and making sure that our province is recognized. He also is part of SA Hockey. So I've got very good people around me, and I think we are we're very close in terms of how and where we want to be with this province, where we want to get them. And I'm enjoying the role. I really am enjoying the role, but it's again because of the people that we work with. And again, I've created a good relationship with our club chairpersons, because one of the things that never happened in the past is that relationship with clubs. I mean, these are the oaks that pay the bills, and they pay for the leagues, they pay for staff, they pay for everything. So we got to look after them. And we got to make sure we're creating a beautiful opportunity for the leagues that we run, the tournaments that we run, our selections, our high performance programs. So all of that has been really run well this year in terms of Southern Gauteng hockey. But again, it's all about leadership. It's all about the people that's involved. And my big word is it's all about transparency and making sure people don't talk behind your back, because they can see what's happening. And that's very, very important for as a person that's leading.
Ali, I always pick your brain, and I know there's something you're doing about racism. In the sports. So please tell us about it.
We started the racism as Southern Gauteng. I said to my executive, look, with everything that's happening in the world, I think it's very important that as the leading organization of hockey in the province, schools fall under us, clubs fall under us. There is the need to eradicate racism within this province. And, I come from a lot of racism issues where, my selection was always based on the color of my skin. And whether I was good enough, you'd be benched for this, or you'd not be put in a team for that. And I know of lots of players that can probably tell you stories, about the racism that has happened within their lives. I've got clubs that are just after that letter went out, that had issues with teams that, that they played against, that, with name calling and all of those things. So it's subtle things that we need to get rid of. We need to make people understand that we don't want any form of racism within hockey in this
Yeah.
province, and I take
Yes.
it South African hockey itself.
Yes.
But again, from a Southern Gauteng perspective, we're
Yes.
really going to be hard on people that transgress those things, and we don't want those type of people in our organization, and that goes for
Yes.
schools as well. We've had lots of problems where it came to the selection of players, and schools are obligated to have 50-50, and there's parents and there's coaches, and there's all these things that is happening in terms of race issues. And I got a 13-year-old son. I cannot see my son going through some of the stuff that I went through. So it's important that I stand up for what I believe. It's important that the organizations that I'm involved with, whether it's Bellew, whether it's South African Hockey, whether it's Southern Gauteng or PSI Gauteng, all my business, they needs to understand that we cannot have those things happening in our society today. So we are putting a massive effort into ensuring that we, get rid of racism within our province. Clubs,
Yes.
schools, selections. And again, the people that we appoint in positions of power, conveners, selectors, we need to make sure we're educating those guys to understand, that people don't get selected on the premise or the basis of their skin color. So it's all about educating. It's all about being open once again.
Yeah.
And it's all about acknowledging that did exist. You see all the schools are coming up. Bishops, all the people are coming up. Even Bellew College, we've had issues where kids were targeted because of racial issues. We didn't know these things, and now suddenly, it's rearing its head. So we got to deal with it. We got to deal with it. We got to make sure that everybody knows it's there, and then we got to make sure we're putting plans in place how we're going to eradicate it. And it's so important in the society we living in South Africa. So
Yes.
yep, we're putting massive effort into that, Moses.
Yes. Now, Ali, you've been so good to Africa hockey, and I think I have the opportunity of knowing you very well, knowing your family. We have the same group of friends, and I remember very well in 2015 when you helped when Kenya got stuck and you helped us out, and from there people see you differently now. South Africa cannot succeed alone without Africa. What's your vision of you coming in to help African hockey? Because we all need to work together, and this is something that has really been in my mind about how can we get South Africa to come in and help the other part of Africa. They are really passionate. They are really trying. I don't know. What do you think about that?
And look, South African Hockey is an organization wherever they can extend a helping hand. We've got the quality of people, the Gary Dollys and the Marissa Langeni, that can put plans in place where we could help other nations with whatever it is that you guys need help with, whether it's coaching. And you're doing a lot of work in terms of that and getting the FIHOs to go and do that, whether it is, setting up competitions or training camps and all of those things. So it's just a matter of what certain countries need in terms of those things, coaching, training games, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure that South African Hockey will step up and assist where they can. There is some good work being done by FIH in various countries, including South Africa. But South African Hockey, in terms of helping other African nations, the door's always open. I can probably speak on behalf of the executive. So if there's a request, if there's something that we can do, I think that we would do it. If we couldn't, we obviously will say, listen, we don't have the capacity or we can't assist you. But as far as I know, we'd be very happy to assist anyway.
Ali, 2015, I remember the former president of Sahar that time had made a very important plea to Africa hockey that we need to have, and I think you mentioned it the same, that we need to have a lot of series between ourselves, because if Kenya grows, if Ghana grows, if Nigeria grows, Egypt grows, automatically South Africa grows. And we've been having a challenges of maybe having one major international tournament after every 2 years. And where South Africa is, I think by virtue of having better facilities, a lot of teams come in there. And so the rest of Africa, we are like, hey, I wish we can participate with that. I mean, what can we do to improve that? Because I am very sure, and I think you've seen the growth of other African countries. They're really trying to come up despite the challenges they have. In that scenario, what do you think we can do to improve on that?
Look, hockey is very big in South Africa, and from a facilities perspective, I'm sure that most of the African teams that have played, you can see that we've got the capacity to hold and host many major events. The problem we have sometimes traveling is that our athletes, or at least our hockey players, aren't accustomed to some of the facilities and the way the facilities are obviously handled, and whatever's happening in the country. Our guys are not used to that. I'm looking at the hockey fives that we played, and the problems that our hockey fives teams had, the SIGs and polo. I'm looking at even the Africa Cup, when we went down there, all the issues we had with accommodation and all of those type of things. So it's all about facilities and whether you can actually handle those events. And the capacity to host a proper event. And I think that's the biggest problem that we face with all the other African countries. When our guys went to Egypt, there were issues with transport, there was issues with this, with that, so yeah, our guys have to go. If we're allocated an African country, like the under-21s might have to travel somewhere soon, or the national team might have to do the Africa Cup in a couple of, if we get told that, we have to obviously just suck it up, make it work. But for you to host more events, I think you need to have the capacity to actually host it. You have to have proper astroturfs. And the organizing must be done in a very professional manner. These events are often World Cup qualifiers or Olympic qualifiers, and you can't have substandard event run that is going to affect any team's performance. Hence, South Africa will always probably remain one of the best venues or countries to host any of these major qualification tournaments.
It's true. Now, Ali, I've been bullying you indirectly. I've been bullying you and your boys. I'm talking about Hikes and Riza, about, hey, when are we going to see a South African team in club championships? Because I think one of the biggest thing I feel that we need to feel that we are together with South Africa. Although I know there's never been a championship for it to elevate one team as a club champions of South Africa. And we've talked about it over and over. And I feel with South Africa being there, it adds the spice. It adds the, and actually we end up breaking the bridges we've been having for so long, where in quotes people think South Africa feels special. You understand? They don't want to come to this tournament.
Know this. Before I can even answer your question, in the good old days, club championships in South Africa was one of the best events that you could ever attend. I remember I went to one where William Prescott is, where for the first time as a colored club, we took part in a championship. And that's where I saw the likes of Sean Cook and Matthew Hellows and Gary Boddington. And I couldn't believe how good these guys were, not knowing that, in a year's time, I'm actually going to play with them in the national team. And it was the best atmosphere you could ever have imagined. I remember when TWR was probably the strongest club in South Africa, and they won Champ of Champs. And they actually won most of the Africa Champ of Champs when they were towards Zimbabwe or any other country they went to. So we did have these events. We had those. So before I can answer your questions, South African hockey as an association, we need to reestablish that, because, without club hockey, we can't exist. Club hockey, then it's provincial hockey, and obviously everybody pays so that you can have an organization exist. That event needs to come back. So you're finding clubs like Riverside that is now starting to host their own event. You've got the KC Masters Easter tournament. That's also a club event. Okay, but we don't have a championship that purely focuses on, all league champions meeting and see who become the club champs. So that is something that South African hockey, from my perspective, needs to bring back. I'm sure Josie Malela will think about that. She runs events, but it needs to come back into the calendar, because the most boring part of playing league for any of the provinces is that you win your league and that's about it. So you collect your trophy and off you go. Can you imagine that you got the best of the best clubs competing against each other, and then we send those guys to a African Club Championship? We start bringing African hockey back into the vibe in terms of everybody, sending teams to that, because it's very important. One of the things we said we want to do for our leagues, for example, is simple things like ensuring that there are finals at our leagues and that we're having massive, awards, dinners and that. But you add, spice onto that. Imagine you winning your league and you're officially being sent on behalf of the province to attend the Club Champions of Champions. And it's something that we can do. And I believe what you say. It's something that could, put some fire under that African hockey flame and just, ignite it again. Club hockey is awesome.
Yes,
It's
true.
it's like, it's the base of where we all come from. Without club hockey would be boring.
Yeah,
Everybody wants to do those, mates. Now imagine traveling with our best tournaments when we go to Easter tournament, or when we go to any club tournament, because that's what it's about.
Yes, the fun, being together with the Oaks and just having it.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, and now Ali, to your love of your heart, the indoor hockey. I know you're really doing a lot to help me set up the franchise in Kenya, and things are looking a bit up now. People with the introduction of hockey fives, people have started seeing the beauty, but now they see. So how is it there? I know you run one of the biggest franchises in.
Yeah, the funny thing, and I think I mentioned the story just now when I said, the year that Greg Clark and company decided that I wasn't good enough to be the assistant coach to the Olympic Games.
Yeah.
That was the year that I decided, I spoke to my friend Simon Martin and Andy, and they were starting something in Cape Town. It was called PSI, and they were, they had some teams going, and the blessing in disguise for me was, once that was my life was set up for that year. I was going to Olympics. I was ready. I was assistant coach of the national team prior to that, and poof, after one camp, I was just told, look, sorry, you're not going to the Olympic Games. And I remember having fights with Dave Carr and Greg Clark and all those. It's not, name them names now. But anyway, I decided that, I'm going to start this business. And obviously, Riza has been with me since the start of that, because him and I started with literally, I think, 8 teams. Garth Nielsen gave me the Fours Hall for weekends for next to nothing. And it was just the start of an indoor franchise that just grew and grew and grew. And today, Riza and I have taken the business to more than 170 teams in our leagues. We've got, massive numbers that are going to represent us in the PSI Nationals. I've added 2 more franchises to my name. So Maldic Maddox runs the Kimberley Heats franchise for me. He's doing a phenomenal job there, slowly growing. And then I've got 2 new guys, Mpo Moreletse and Jaden from Limpopo, that's running my Limpopo Leopards franchise. And in the beginning, PSI was 3 franchises with me, Simon and Andy, and today I think we're sitting with 28 franchises, if I'm not mistaken. So it's taken South African hockey by storm. And where we can see the difference in how this indoor hockey has impacted South African hockey is that wherever we go, whatever tournament we go to, every PSI franchise kids will stand out at an IPT provincial tournament, because these kids eat, sleep, live indoor hockey. Their skills are so good when it comes to tackling and close skills, and it kind of, influences the game out of there. So indoor hockey is, from a numbers perspective, has grown. 2, we've, given the ability for kids now to have an extra skill set in terms of the skill sets that, that is needed for an indoor player, which obviously enhances their outdoor skills. And it's just a game that's enjoyable. It's 40 minutes and you out of there. Parents love it. And it's just growing and growing and growing. So indoor hockey has always been a part of my life. And we've done very, very well with that.
I know that. And when hopefully when I go back, we'll be having discussion with some people when I go back home, and that's one thing we want to set up. And of course, I'll be coming down to South Africa just to get the best practices to make it work. Now, Ali, what's in the plan for you? Because I remember I said I would like us to do some workshops in the other sides of Africa. Man, it's time to bring the same passion. And I had a talk with Hikes, and I said it personally. I think, I'm sorry to say this, that we don't really value the people we have, because a lot of other people in other sides of Africa would love to have Hikes to come and just share his experience as a forward. And I think we need to come out from our comfort zone and say, hey, if Ali is good with this, if I can get this guy to do this, what do we need to do? So, and I ask you, what do you think we need to do? Because we need to have some workshop in other parts of Africa, and people are willing to have us. So what do you feel about that? And as how soon can we start doing that? You know?
Again, Moses, it's what you guys want, it's what the other African countries want, and the relationship that you're going to form with either South African hockey, or if you wanted Julian Hikes to come out, you literally just send an invitation. And I think those guys would obviously, with open arms, come out there and help and run workshops and run, skill sessions, because there's nothing better than getting some of the top oaks to actually come do physical hockey activities with your players, run high performance camps, see how it's done, impart their knowledge on your national teams. I had the pleasure of working with your ladies' national side in Kenya. And I mean, for them, it was a different training session. And, it was enjoyable, and I hopefully I kind of taught them different stuff in terms of tactics and skill sets. And it's important that that you know the quality of Julian and Riza and all those other guys that have the opportunity to go to Africa. If you want them there, those guys will go.
I know
for
that.
Sure. And workshops is not even an issue, but like I said, FIH is running quite a number of workshops now, so they are obviously stepping up their game in terms of that. But Moses, South African Hockey's got one of the best education programs that is around. And Gary's just obviously now just launched the online, level naught, and they're busy with level 1. So we've got very competent presenters and administrators, and also a very good coaching program in South Africa that we can obviously impart onto the African nations if they want.
I know they want, because we had a discussion with Chess the other time, and we said the first thing we need to do is just have a forum for African coaches. Maybe we start with conversations, like because a lot of countries have been working individually, and in the modern time now we have to work together. So Ali, so lastly, I know you have something coming up, and what do you feel? I mean, what can you tell the other parts of Africa and all our viewers about what we need to do to step, despite the challenges that we have now?
Well, I think I've said that. I don't know what more I can say there, Moses, but I mean, it's a challenging part. The other, in the rest of the African countries, I don't know what their leagues are like. I don't know what their, national programs are like. But I mean, it's all about trying to replicate what some other nations are doing. Again, we're lucky we've got the infrastructure. We've got good club systems in place. We run regular provincial and IPT tournaments to pick our best players. So it's all about structure, Moses. It's all about what you guys can do from an organization point of view in every of those African countries. And again, it's all about the people that you appoint. We're lucky again within South African hockey that the quality of the people that we have is able to, give us the opportunity to get things done, whether it's events, whether it is coaching education, whether it is high performance, whether it is our president who's very competent, our vice president, our treasurers. So if your structures are right and you've got the right people there that understands how to grow the game, appointing the right coaching staff, appointing the right assistant coaches, ensuring that your events that you plan are run proper. When you've got all those things in place, everything, will fall into place in terms of the organization, whether it be provincial, whether it be national. So I think the first thing there is finding the correct leadership. And the people that will understand what the role is. And the second thing is to make sure that every one of the organizations you're setting objectives of what it is you want out there, whether it is creating a team that's going to be competitive at the Africa Cup, or whether it's just making sure that you're running proper leagues in the country, or that your junior hockey program, is pretty much well run. For example, our modified hockey, which Gary Dolly runs here, is probably one of the best junior hockey programs in the world. So the likes of Graham Joffrey can say stuff like he said, but again, he doesn't even know what our modified hockey program does. It is something that you can replicate all over the world, and you don't even need a field. You don't even need, you need a piece of ground, and you need to just make sure that you are exposing kids to the different techniques in terms of hockey and making it fun. So this program has been fantastic. And that's one of the things that you need to do is start from the ground and you work your way up. Make sure those mini hockey kids are all getting taught the right thing. And then it's going to be those teenagers that you're going to make sure they've got proper events and structures in place. Because if that's not right, then you can forget about your national team ever, performing at those levels. And we're lucky in South Africa. Our junior base is really good. Our mini hockey system is really good. It allows us to then look at all the talent coming through from under 18 into our national team. And to this day, I think we are so blessed with what is coming through. I can't wait for the next cycle of players to come through our national teams. We have seriously good hopes, and I think we've got seriously good staff and people that can take us to the next level. And I don't want us just to be competitive in terms of South African hockey. We got to go out there, and hopefully one day we can say, listen, we want to compete for top 8, not win medals yet, but we can make top 6. And those are the small little steps we got to take as South Africa. But like any organization and like you guys, it all starts from the bottom, and it has to go all the way to the top. And then in between that, you got all your hiccups. You're going to have people that don't want to do their work. You're going to have, administrators that are going to fall along the wayside. So it is difficult, Moses, but it can be done. It can be done.
Thank you so much, Allistair. It's always a pleasure to have you around. And
thanks, Moses. It was nice chatting to you.
And on behalf of me and other guys that you have really impacted, I really appreciate you. You're one of the reasons why Hockey Farm started. From 2014.
When you come out of COVID-19 there in Holland, you need to come visit, eh? Did you tell the people how long you've been in Holland now? You went for a coaching course and then you're still stuck there.
From March. And
I saw your wife wish you happy Father's Day today.
Yes.
Your kids must be missing you. It's a good March, April, May, June. It's a good 4 months that you have that Kenya hasn't seen you.
And I miss I remember African food and stuff, But hopefully I go first week of July. Hopefully I go back. I just wanted to thank you, Allistair, so much for your
pleasure, man.
For your good heart and how you have impacted us. Hopefully we'll see you very soon or later. We need to chat and do a lot of stuff. Okay. Thank you so much, Allistair.
Enjoy Father's Day, boy.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. Okay, that was our discussion with Allistair Fredricks. He's been so instrumental in developing not only South African coaches, but I think his passion for the game and his big heart, willing always to help. And he has mentioned some important things, and I think all of us had. So from now, I think it's for us to start thinking. And I like the idea that they want to come back to Africa Club Championship. So for now, I thank you for that. And let's keep these conversations going. I think conversations open doors and breaks barriers which have not been there. So thank you so much for being for following us up. I will replay. I'll share the same link again for those who haven't seen. So thank you, and happy Father's Day for all the trainers, all the coaches who take the fatherly roles in coaching, and all the people who have been working hard. We really appreciate you. Thank you, and have a good Sunday. Bye-bye from now. Okay, bye.